Welcome to episode 33 of Vampire Survivors like game in Unity. In this episode we will add more weapons. Today we want to expand our weapon roster. So let's begin with the easiest pick, Garlic, the weapon which just attack enemies in the vicinity of the player, like an damaging aura. So make a new empty object called Weapon Garlic in our weapons on the character. Create another new component called Garlic Weapon. Open newly created script. Each weapon inherits from the weapon base. Create a new serialized variable called attack area size to define how big is our garlic weapon area of attack. Now we want to deliver the damage. Open the whip weapon. Inside you can see how we gather the enemies we hit and then call apply damage, which applies the damage to all the targets we detected in front of us when we sweep our whip. We want to generalize this method into the weapon base, because most of the weapons want to be able to deliver the damage to the enemies. Copy and cut apply method and put it into the weapon base. Make it public, and now every weapon which inherit from weapon base have an apply damage method accessible for them. So we can reuse the same method, so we don't repeat ourselves in every weapon repeating this apply damage method. Go into Garlic weapon and use it to apply damage to all enemies around the player. Prefab the Garlic weapon. Now we need to create data for the weapon. Make the data scriptable object. Reference the prefab of the weapon Garlic. Delete the weapon Garlic of the character and make Garlic as your starting weapon. See, now weapon will be getting damaged if they come closer to you. This episode is brought to you by generous support of people on Patreon and members on YouTube. If you want to join them, link to my Patreon in the description, and join button available right now on YouTube. If you join at $10 or more, you will get access to project files on Patreon. Now let's add a new weapon. We will call gun. I don't know, is there a weapon like this in Vampire Survivor? And I don't care. From now on, I want to have a gun, which will shoot knives. Whatever. So again, make the gun weapon object. Create another new script called gun weapon. Open new script and inherit from weapon base. Again, because every weapon inherit from weapon base. The difference between throwing daggers and a gun that we want to make a gun shoot in the direction you are moving. So open weapon base. Inside create a new enum called direction of attack, which we will use to determine the direction of our attack we will be aiming at. For now, let's add forward, left, right, and up and down. In the weapon base, create two new variables, vector of attack of type vector2 and attack direction. Serialize attack direction, so we will be able to select the direction of our attack for the weapon. Let's add none as an attack direction in case we are not using any of the other attack directions. Good. Now we want to generate the vector of attack based on the selected attack direction. Make the method for this. Inside we need to create an exception. If direction of attack is none, then set the vector of attack to be vector2 0 and return out of execution. Now we want to make left and right throwing direction. To calculate the vector of attack, we need to catch the player move, because that's what handles the direction of our player movement. Then in the left and right direction, read the last horizontal vector into the x direction of attack and set y direction to be 0. X is our horizontal direction and y is our vertical direction. Because we are attacking left or right, we ignore vertical direction and set it to be 0. Normalize the vector. Good. Let's make up and down direction too. Here we will use vertical vector. Good. We have generated the vector of attack. And to use it in our weapon, we need to make the variable public. Open throwing knife script. And got the move player part. Then use vector of attack to pass the vector to the direction where our knives will fly. Remember that before doing any attack you have to call update vector of attack. Set the starting weapon to be throwing knives, so we will be able to test that our changes is working. And select the throwing knife prefab. Set the attack direction to be left and right. We will shoot our knives into left and right direction. And if we set it up and down, it will shoot them well up and down. Good. With this done, let's make our gun weapon. Copy the projectile spawning system from the throwing knife. Don't worry, in the next episode we will generalize it into our base class to not repeat ourselves. Cut multiple bullet spawning. Good. Now open the weapon base, and in the direction of attack, forward, we will simply need to read player last horizontal and vertical vector together. Select throwing knife as our projectile in the editor. Set the attack direction to be forward. Prefab the gun weapon. Make the weapon data for the gun. Delete the gun object from the scene and set gun to be weapon on the start. Let's test this. Okay, we have a weird behavior. This is happening because how we calculate our last vector of movement. These two last vectors are preserved in what I will call decoupled state. It means each of them are updated individually. So if, for example, you move left to right, your up and down last vector will still be preserved. But in some cases you want to have a coupled vector, a direction vector which preserves an entire direction, not only one axis individually. Let's rename our last vector into decoupled vectors. And introduce two new floats variable called coupled vectors. Give them value at the start. And in the update, if we have any input of movement, we update both of those vectors at the same time. Then in the weapon base, in the forward direction, use last horizontal coupled vector. This should fix weird behavior. Good. We will be expanding on those systems in episodes to come. Now you have one place for the calculation of direction where your attack is aimed. So later on, when you want to introduce more attack patterns, you need to introduce them in update attack vector. This is it for this episode. Special thank you to Stormbreaker 9000 and the Soul Hashdo. With best regards, see you in the next episode.